Hello, it's Kylie Bertucci, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia, here with you for some hashtag Love It, Chop It. I have a Love It, Chop It workshop that has been going crazy. We've been having about around 30 new people every week joining that amazing workshop. It's a Facebook group, private, completely private. And on there I have a few videos, but I've noticed that a lot of us are sharing all of our hoarding secrets because there's a lot of us out there that really, truly have a fear of chopping our paper. We feel like we're going to chop it the wrong way, or that we're not going to get the most out of our paper. We're scared that we might make a mistake and ruin our paper. And if you feel this way, I am telling you, you are not alone. And I very much felt this way until I figured out this little measurement for me that is so simple and so easy. It seems too good to be true. It's a tongue twister for me at this time of night. So I want to jump in and show you exactly the measurements that I use in both inches or imperial and metric. And also on top of that, you may have noticed my title, Say Goodbye to One Sheet Wonders Forever. Well, this is another layer to our Love It, Chop It, because I want as many people as possible to understand how easy and simple it is to use your Designer Series paper for card making. If you want to use your Designer Series paper for 3D projects and scrapbooking, of course this does not apply. Please ignore everything and keep it at the 12 by 12. But there's a lot of us that are card makers, and we wonder how we can get the most out of our Designer Series paper. Your mind is going to be blown. I'm telling you, it's so simple. Once you understand this, you will be chopping every pack of paper that you get. As soon as it comes into your house, we're going to be chopping it. You ready for that? You're ready to start chopping? Now, I want to show you something that I have done from a storage point of view that will really help you. So I use our amazing Stampin' Up! Cases. I buy the clear mount cases and the wood mount cases. And what I have done is used an amazing template that we got from Sarah Berry. And I have put the colours, the Designer Series paper, a picture of that and the name, and even along the border. And I have stored it in one of my IKEA containers. But eventually it's going to replace this little section down here that has my Designer Series paper in the 12 by 12, and I am going to have all of them in my cases. Yes, my Designer Series paper will only be stored in cases. It's so exciting. I'm really excited. It's almost like another stamp set, but it's got paper in it. Now, how am I going to do this? Well, I want to show you exactly how you can store all your Designer Series paper in these amazing cases. So there you can see I've done the foil sheets and I've got it all stored in here, all ready to go, and I have done them card front size. That is as simple as it is. So let's have a little look. I'm going to jump on in here. I have a beautiful pack of paper here, and I know that this is just like you all want to touch it and feel it and smell it. I know some of you smell it. I don't actually smell the paper, but I do touch it, that's for sure. We all have our own fetish. But the one thing that's always scary is getting it opened and starting a pack of paper, because you're like, where do I begin? Which paper do I use? Which side do I use? That seems to be a big problem as well. But the first thing you want to do as soon as you get your paper is to get it opened. If it stays in the plastic and you put it on your shelf while it is in plastic, you know what the chances are? The chances are it will stay in the plastic for the next 5 to 10 years, and you will have a big pile of Designer Series paper that hasn't been used. My motto, or the hashtag that we use, is hashtag Love It, Chop It. If you love your paper, you will chop your paper. You need to keep saying that to yourself so that you will chop this paper with no fear and with only love for it. It's a little bit KonMari. You need to start sparking joy in your chopping. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you this here. I've got my card templates, which help me to work out what size I want for each layer. This first layer here is my go-to layer in my metric size, and I've noticed that for most who use imperial or the inches, this is your go-to size for the front of a card. Now, I have worked out that this is a really, really great size to cut all of your designer series paper if you are going to be using it for card making, and I will explain why. Especially if you are a lover of one sheet wonders, you will see that it will open up huge possibilities. Like, there's a lot of different options that you have once you use this size. So let's just jump on in. Pretend for our imperial peeps that the larger size is the 5.25. So when I cut my paper, the first thing I do is I cut it at the larger size first. And the main reason for that is, if you have a look here at the measurements, I'll just make sure you can see it. But if you have 4 by 3, so you want 3, you're going to get 6 card fronts out of this base. So this is perfect if you do the 4 inches, the larger this way and then the smaller this way. So that means you have to know whether you're doing landscape or portrait. That is the only decision that you have to make. Now, majority of my paper, I do portrait. I am a portrait girl. Some of us have a thing. We love landscape or we love portrait. But what you could do if you were like undecided as to whether you're going to do a portrait or landscape, I really don't know what decision to make. Well, just do one of each. Make it simple for yourself. So you can turn one this way, and one this way. Now, the tricky thing is when you have paper like this, is whatever large size you cut. So see how I've got this facing this way. This will actually be a portrait card, because you're going to be cutting it like this, so that it's going to be portrait, right? If you want the mushrooms to be landscape, well, then you would cut it this size, right? And then this is going to be landscape when you cut it the other way, because you're going to be, actually, yes, that's correct. I'm just making sure I'm not confusing you, but we shall see when I do the first chop, because I know you're all very excited to see this first chop. So I do this at 14.4 centimeters, or if you are imperial inches, you would do it at 5.25. And then we just do a really good chop with lots of confidence. That's how easy it is. Then we do it again, another 14.4, and you're going to be left with a little strip there, and that strip is going to be an awesome little strip for inside our cards. Isn't that good? Nothing gets wasted with Love It, Chop It. And that is one of the biggest fears that we have about cutting our paper, is we're going to waste it. So then we come in and we've got these 2 strips. So now we're going to be cutting it at the 10 centimeter mark. So do you see what I mean about you start landscape even though you want a portrait, and you start portrait if you want it landscape? Sounds a bit random, but that's the only tricky bit. That really is. And you'll learn from practice. And if you get it wrong, great. Well, you have a landscape card. All good. No harm done. You're just changing the direction of your paper. So I'm doing them at 10 centimeters. And what you will see is very quickly, now this piece here, I am not going to keep that. We can definitely say goodbye to this little one here. But if you want to keep it, you can. But I have a little rule where if it's under an inch or under a centimeter, thank you for your service. Thank you for being part of the paper, but I'm saying goodbye to you, because otherwise we just get swallowed up in little bits and pieces that we don't end up using. And we don't want that. We want to use as much of this paper as possible. And if you are someone who wants to use it for 3D projects, then you can get 1 pack for your 3D projects and scrapbooking, and 1 pack for your card making. And then once you have cut your card making pack, you can get a spare one. And that's the exciting thing about the designer series paper. Don't hold on to it to the point where you're so worried it's going to run out that you don't use it. It's like the china in your mum's good room. But mum, why can't we use that? Because it's too good. We can't use it. What is the point? What is the point of looking at something instead of using it, creating memories with it, sharing that experience with other people? Is to always look and go, I'm so confused. Why are we not using the things that are nice. Let's use them. So let's chop them. So already, look at that. You have 6 card fronts right there. Boom, done. Now, how am I going to get rid of a one sheet wonder? You might be looking at this and go, well, what do we do with this now? What if I don't want a full card front? What if I don't want to stick an entire piece of paper on? Well, you don't have to. Let me show you what I have come up with here. I'm really excited about these different measurements that you can do. So say if you have some beautiful paper here. So I've got, what is this paper called? I'm having an absolute floral romance. No, it's not floral romance. It's something romantic. I know it's romantic. Look at me. I'll get my book out. You all know I always forget my names. Textured impressions, embossing folder. All My Love. I knew it was something romantic. So we've got All My Love Designer Series paper from the Occasions catalogue. I have already cut these down into my Love It Chop It size, which you just saw. You have just been privy to the Love It Chop It size. So look at this, right? Amazing. Some of these I've done a little bit bigger because Bruno does like to do his cards to the edge. However, if you do the Love It Chop It theory, there's only 2 parts of it that can be to the edge. So I'm not wanting to complicate it, but this is amazing. 72 card bases you can get from the front, just doing card fronts, right? Now what we're going to do is I'm showing you that with this card base or this front, Designer Series paper front, you can do incredible things with this. So don't feel like you just have to stick with just this. So I'll give you an example here. Firstly, I thought I'll do a little strip, right? I'm going to have a little strip here. So look at this here. I've cut it at 5 centimeters. So that means I get 2 of these, right? If I get 2 of these strips, I just get my little card front and I cut it at 5 centimeters. Boom. We now have an amazing card that we can layer with some color like this. And then we just have to add a sentiment. And it's like you're doing the one sheet wonders, right? But you're not. You're just using it. It's one sheet wonder simplified, I'm telling you. So beautiful. Now instead of just one full piece, we're using a little bit of extra goodies here and cutting it in half. It also means it's even cheaper because you're getting 2 pieces of cards of Designer Series paper per sheet, and it gives different look. It's exciting. So you could do that on one, you could do that on the other. You can mix it up and use both sides then. It gives you a lot of versatility. Now the other exciting thing that you can do with this, and you can see it's just so beautiful that all our paper coordinates, because you could do the same look or same cut on quite a number of these sheets and come up with a completely different card because this paper is just so beautiful. So that is a really cool and easy thing to do. Just cut it in half at 5 centimeters, or if you were the Imperial, you would cut it in half, which would be at 2 inches. So it's really simple. Just cut it in half. The other thing that you can do, which is super exciting, is do a diagonal. So you can see here, I've got my diagonal piece and I've done a piece of Flirty Flamingo underneath just to make it really pretty. And then we're going to layer that on a card base. And the card base could be another Flirty Flamingo, or, yeah, I think Flirty will actually look better. The crumb cake doesn't do it justice. So definitely some Flirty here. Look at that. And then you can put a beautiful sentiment here. You can do what you like. So all you're going to do to get the diagonal is, again, you've got your starting base, which is all going to be stored nice and neatly in your beautiful cases here, ready to go. So you can see I have all my little pieces here ready to go. You can cut them all, have them ready to go. Do smaller pieces, whatever you want to do. It's all in your little case, ready to go. Some of them here I haven't touched at all, so they've just got the layers. Where are we? This one here I think is one. Oh, this one I've done a bit of cutting. But you can see I've got some strips that I've left behind, but then I've got my actual bases here as well that give me my go-to starting point, and then I can cut these any way that I want, but it all stays here in my case ready to use whenever I want. So I'm not having to cut this in any way other than that first base. It's like the home base. It's my first base because it's getting me opening the paper, it's getting me cutting the paper, so I have a lot better chance of using the paper. And that's our goal from this, okay? I want you to use your designer series paper. I hear so many saying, I don't use it, it just stays in the cupboard. No, we want to use it. We want to share this beautiful paper with everyone around the world. So with this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it a little bit diagonal, so you can see that there. Boom. And that is literally what you can do. Look at this gorgeous side here. So again, with that same sort of pattern that I had there, if I can pick it up, come here, little one. So you can see here that you can have, the layer's probably a little bit wrong, but you can see what I mean. We've got all these layers. You can cut another layer for it so that it can layer underneath. Then you have your card and you have these amazing diagonal sheets. So there's so many different things that you can do with this, which is really, really exciting. So that's our diagonal. We've done our little cut it in half lengthways. You can cut it in half widthways. So if you look at your full width, it's 14.4. So do it about 17.2 or 7.2 for metric, and half of 5.25 inches. What would that be? About 2.5 and a little bit extra. Whatever it is. But even if you did it at 2.5 inches and then you got one that's a little bit bigger, totally fine. It doesn't have to be completely equal. No one's going to look at that and go, that's not exactly equal, that measurement. You can just cut it however you want it. So there we go, cut it in half. And now we have this gorgeous card that we can layer. So if I grab some of my Flirty Flamingo here, because this looks really good with this, and I cut it at 10 centimeters because I know that that's the width, because we've already pre-cut it. See, it's making everything so much easier. Then we can have this beautiful base. We could even cut like a little strip and then layer it on top of the Whisper White. So let's do that. We'll do a little strip here. So we've cut it at 7.2. We'll do it maybe at 8.2. So then it gives it a centimeter strip. And you don't have to use all this cardstock, of course. You could just cut it, to here and just have a little edge piece there. And then you can layer it on another piece here, 10 centimeters by, actually we'll do, 10 centimeters by 14.4, and then it would still have another card layer. But you can see here how quickly and easily, look at that even, you could just sort of lift it up a little bit, have a beautiful sentiment, or even if you wanted it the other way around, start at the top and then have a beautiful sentiment down here, or even some stamping, or even some ribbon. Like you can see the possibilities because you have that original base. Can you see what I mean? Are you getting excited? I hope you're getting lots of ideas from this. So that's cutting in half widthways. So we've done narrow width in half. So you can see there's lots of exciting things there. Now, another one I wanted to show you, and I think it's going to look gorgeous with this, is it's at 10 centimeters. So I'm just going to do 2.5. So if I do 2.5, that's going to give me 3 strips, I'm pretty sure. So 2.5, 4 strips, even better. So they're all going to be the same size. So you could divide your 5.25, work out what that is in 4 strips. And then you have this gorgeous paper that looks amazing. And then what you can do is get some lovely lipstick, because we know this looks amazing with it. And we could do some layering like this. Now you could just have the 4 with a little gap in between. And it might be a little bit too big to do the gap. So what you could do is just do the 3. And then you can use the last little piece for the inside of your card. when you decorate inside. And then with this, it's totally up to you. I've done it 10 centimeters by 14.4 or the usual 4-inch by 5.25. But you can then, once you've done this, you can go, you know what, I'm going to cut it down a little bit and just have that same little strip along the edge there. So it might be, say, 9 centimeters, maybe a little bit less. So I'll cut that and then we'll just play around with it a bit. I'll show you what I mean. So let's do that at 8.8. So if we just play with that so that they have the same gap there. Oh, gorgeous. And then all you need to do then is stick it onto a Whisper White card base. Of course, this is not, this is very flimsy, this one. So you want to try and use your thick card base if you're going to do your thick cardstock, if you're going to do bases in Whisper White. It really, really is amazing, the thick cardstock. And then you just lift this up. Of course, you're going to stick all this down, but there's a little strips. And look how good that looks. And that's just doing 3, or you can get 4 strips and then 1 for the inside of your card to decorate that. And of course, put a beautiful sentiment and you've got an amazing card like that. Boom, right? So these are just some of the ideas of what you can do. And of course, I will come up with a little PDF for you because you might be thinking, oh, what measurements is she doing? What is she saying? But really, what I'm trying to get you all to do is for you to think of some ideas. Because I know we get very measurements, what were the measurements for that? How did you do that? I want to do that exactly. But I want you to feel free enough that you can come up with your own measurements, your own ideas. You know what 10, like for me, I know what 10 divided by 2.5 is. You will get used to your measurements. Like if I look at 5.25 on here, you will get used to your inches. You will know how much you can get from one piece. And once you start working out how to use measurements to your advantage, like even if you cut this so that it was a bit small left over, you're still going to be able to use that. There is no wrong measurements. And that's what I really want to bring home today, is showing you the possibilities to not be scared and to realize that it opens up doors. That once you cut that first base, once you get your head around chopping, and once you have it ready to go, all stored and ready to go, it is so exciting what you can do with it because it's already cut. When we see in a big 12 by 12 piece, for some reason for me, and I don't know if you're the same, please comment below if you're the same, but it just felt scary. It felt like it was too big. Even One Sheet Wonders, when I saw all of these measurements on this big piece of 12 by 12, I was afraid that I would cut it wrong, and it felt very restrictive, and I must cut it this way, and if I don't cut it this way, then I've wrecked it. I'm a failure and I've wrecked my paper. But this I want you to see as a possibility to literally, there is no mistakes. Like once you have that base, go for it. You can cut this any way you like. It's really, really exciting. So here's another one for you. This one was really exciting for me because I thought, you know what? I want to do some squares. So how would I do some squares? So I did some squares and I did them at 7 centimeters each. So 7 by 7. And if that was in inches, you probably do them about like 2.5 inches by 2.5. And then you just create a little base for it. I did it in a lovely lipstick. And you can see here this beautiful little square. Nothing exciting really on its own. But the minute you put it on a beautiful base, you have got an amazing card. And you could do it with the Flirty Flamingo in the background and have that layered, and then maybe add some text, do some embossing in the background of your Flirty Flamingo with this raised on top, and then you could have a beautiful sentiment through the middle using this beautiful square. So all I did for the square, just to show you that one, because that's another new design. So 7, boom. Now the reason why I chose the number 7 is because my paper only goes to just over 14 So that's what made me choose it. So you look at your metric, the most it goes is 5.25. So 2.5 inches is actually really good because you'll just be left with 1/4 of an inch. So I want 7. So that's what you've got to work out. It's like, how much paper do I have here? Can I get 2 of these out of it, one piece? And that's what made me choose 7 centimeters. And then we're left with this piece here, which is 3 centimeters exactly, which is a beautiful inside piece for your card. Or even if you wanted to, you could make this a hero of its own. It can be the hero of its own story. You can stick that down. You could have a strip of some beautiful, lovely lipstick that you put down like this, and that could become like a little accent on its own. It's so exciting. I really, really hope that this is just getting your mind thinking of really exciting layouts and ideas, and just the exciting thing that you can do with just this card base. Because I think it's a lot easier. I hope you think this is a lot more simple, because I'm thinking it's a lot more simple than a one sheet wonder, because you just can look at this and go, what do I want? Do I want squares? Do I want one big long sheet that I'm going to make rectangle? I think I had a piece here that I did. Yes, here. I was like, you know what? I feel like a bigger piece. I feel like I'm going to chop this a bit larger. So I did it at 7 centimeters. Still was left with 3 centimeters on the side. But I thought this would be a beautiful piece that I could layer just like this. Have it like that. And then put that directly onto a card like so. And it's so beautiful. But even if I wanted to, I could even put another layer underneath like this and make that embossed and then have my font. It's so exciting. I'm so excited. I hope you're just as excited. If you are, please comment below. And if you're not, don't worry about it. Don't worry about commenting. Just move along. But seriously, I really, really hope this helps. I want you to start with this base. Okay, this is your base. This is home. And this is freedom. When you start cutting your paper, as this is your base, the possibilities from there just keep opening up. It means better storage, less, like it takes up less space in your room. It also restricts you because you know what you have. I can pull this out and I know that I have this much of Floral Romance. So I don't need to get another pack until I have used this. So it's also helping me with my stock take. It's helping me to use it. It's helping me to store it better. And when it's like this, I don't know what it does to me, but I just feel like using it. I'm not afraid anymore. It's broken all my barriers down. And it's just, I look at it and I see possibilities instead of fear. And that's really good because I want to use my designer series paper and I love my paper and I want to share it with everyone. So please, 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 if you want more information, come and join our Love It Chop It workshop because I will be sharing this video on there, as well as a lot of us who are purging our souls and telling everyone about our issues with designer series paper hoarding. You are not alone if you find it difficult to cut your paper. You are not alone. And this is a real thing. It comes from our mothers who said, don't touch the good stuff. You're allowed to touch the good stuff. You're allowed to use it because I give you full permission to buy more. You have my permission. I have approved and said, if you use all your designer series paper, you may get more. Isn't that exciting? So you don't need to hold on to it anymore. You don't need to feel like you've got to hold on to it until it's no longer available and then you want to hold on to it longer because you still can't get it. No, use it. Use it. That's what it's there for. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you to all those that have asked for this video to learn about One Sheet Wonder Simplified, or how to get rid of One Sheet Wonder altogether. We have to find a really good name. I thought One Sheet Wonder Simplified was a good one. Or Love It, Chop It to Pieces. That's another good one. So tell me what you think below. I like Love It, Chop It to Pieces. Bruno likes One Sheet Wonder Simplified. But we will think of a name for this because I really, really love this. And I think that it has created a lot of freedom for a lot of people. So if you please enjoy my videos, subscribe, comment below. Let me know if you're watching, and I will come up with more ideas to help you with our crafting hoarding tendencies that we have. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. And thank you to everyone. We hit 5,000 YouTube subscribers this week. Whoop, whoop. And it's only because of all of you. So thanks for your support, and we shall see you soon. Bye, everyone.